Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the news hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabor.
And I am Martin Asiedu Dartey. These are the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu intensifies calls for the resignation of Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabin.
Also coming up tonight, government commits to completing big push projects to open up the country and improve transportation.
Woman in viral assault video breaks silence, detailing severe abuse and accuses authorities of neglect.
Coming up in business news, CSO Budget Forum cautions heavy dependence on extractive revenue to drive big push agenda may undermine sustainability of the program.
And on the international front, gunmen attack a church in Nigeria, killing at least 2 people and kidnapping the pastor and some worshippers. It's a packed bulletin, and we always love that you stay with us throughout. So do send your messages in on our various social media platforms.
In our very first story, private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu has intensified calls for the resignation of the Special Prosecutor Kisi Ejabin and his assigns over what he describes as failure of the OSP to prosecute former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Lawyer Kpebu was earlier invited by the OSP for a hearing following allegations of corruption he made against the Special Prosecutor. A report by Lord Idoasari.
Lawyer Martin Kpebu earlier accused the Special Prosecutor of colluding with the former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, to evade prosecution and leave the shores of Ghana. He was hence invited by the Office of the Special Prosecutor to substantiate the allegations on Wednesday, November 19.
Yeah, so at the beginning, we're a bit unsettled because there's an officer who sought to say that I should have only one lawyer present. It's unconstitutional. There's no part of the Constitution that restricts your right to a number of any lawyer. I've been here before. I've seen their conference rooms. So if I have 15 lawyers, but my number, that wasn't even, we were just 2 lawyers. There were other lawyers who were to join, but I had 2 at the time, and he sought to restrict. So we reprimanded the officer, and I'm sure in due course I'll notify the higher ups. So basically the hearing started, and then we raised some objections, and so based on that there's been an adjournment. So if those objections are resolved, there may be a continuation.
The private legal practitioner chastised the OSP for the delay in filing charges against the former Finance Minister while he was out of the jurisdiction.
Where some public institutions are allegedly, in any event they are contested, well, at least one institution is contesting, are allegedly frustrating the work of the Special Prosecutor, he has to come out and inform Ghanaians. He didn't, and he allowed Ofori-Atta through. And I'm saying that for that one, Kisi Ejabin and his right-hand men, 2 of them, have to pay dearly for it. They must leave office. Look, because you see today, Ofori-Atta's name has been taken off the Interpol Red Alert. All this is needless. This is preventable.
Martin Kpebu also advocated for the freezing of the assets of Ken Ofori-Atta while his prosecution is pending.
Now, a lawyer for the former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokono, Ni Ayukwe Otu, has indicated that the ECOWAS court's dismissal of his client's injunction application does not change the ongoing human rights claims. He made the remark following the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice's ruling on Justice Tokono, who was requesting to be reinstated with her full entitlements.
The Community Court of Justice of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS,
dismissed the application by former Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu, which sought to halt the work of the fact-finding committee investigating the petition for her removal. The court also rejected the state's preliminary objection on jurisdiction, maintaining that Tokonu's application bordered on alleged violation of human rights. According to the ruling, the former Chief Justice filed the application for interim measures more than 8 weeks after her suspension and 6 weeks after the committee's hearings had commenced.
In the light of the foregoing, the court hereby declares that the application for revision of judgment number ECW/CCJ/JUD/44/23 delivered on the 24th of November 2023 is inadmissible. And for that reason, sitting in public, the court declares that it has jurisdiction to determine this case. However, declares the application is inadmissible.
A legal representative of the former Chief Justice, Ayiko Otu, says they had already notified the courts of not pursuing the interim application anymore. He further argued that the Attorney General's jurisdictional challenge was without merit.
When the woman went to ECOWAS court and also went to the High Court in Accra and went to the Supreme Court, he told everybody that while this case is pending, please hold your horses. Then they went ahead and now sworn in a new Chief Justice. What do you think they have done to the ECOWAS court? They have fixed them with a fait accompli. That we are finished and we now have a new Chief Justice. So what is the point? So what the ECOWAS court is saying is that, look, as far as these interim matters are concerned, we are no longer interested. We want to hear the matter.
Ayiko Otu also accused the Attorney General of failing to file a timely response, thereby delaying the hearing of substantive issues pending before the court. The ECOWAS court has now directed the Attorney General to file a substantive response within 30 days to determine whether the removal of the former Chief Justice breached her fundamental human rights.
And away from the court, senior government officials at the Jubilee House say President Mahama will use the Falcon 900EX only when Communication Squadron of the Ghana Air Force certifies the equipment. The return of the aircraft has triggered debate on whether the president will switch from commercial flying to use the presidential jet or continue to use and fly commercial. There's more in this report.
Jubilee House sources say the president is ready and willing to use the Falcon EX, but will not do so until the Air Force which manages the aircraft gives it a clean bill of health. The 15-year-old jet, purchased in 2009, developed significant defects during a routine inspection earlier this year, including fuel tank problems and issues with one of its turbofan engines. On 11 July 2025, the late Defense Minister Dr. Edward Omaniboama told Parliament that the aircraft was unavailable to fly the Vice President back to Ghana after a short illness because it had developed risky multifocal defects. The Falcon EX was flown to the Dassault Falcon Service MRO facility at Paris-Le Bourget, PLB on 11 March 2025 to undergo its mandatory 24-monthly or 1,600 flight hour inspection and repairs. The state of the presidential jet and the president's reliance on other aircraft has revived calls for Ghana to acquire a new dedicated presidential aircraft. Those calls have intensified in the wake of a recent helicopter crash that killed 2 cabinet ministers, 3 government officials and 3 Air Force personnel. The Finance Minister, Dr. Kasiola Tuforsing, in the 2026 budget statement, announced government's plan to procure 4 new helicopters and 2 planes for the Ghana Armed Forces as part of major retooling and modernization.
We're staying on the same subject matter of the presidential jet. Now, the minority and majority caucuses went head-to-head on Wednesday in a fiery dispute over the cost of purchasing 4 new aircrafts announced by the finance minister in the 2026 budget. The ranking on foreign affairs hinted at a sum of $1.2 billion to be used to purchase a presidential jet, an amount that sent the chamber into heated exchanges. Christian Yale reports.
Mr. Speaker, I'm talking about $1.2 billion United States dollars to purchase presidential debt when you cannot pay nurses, when you cannot pay teachers, when you cannot buy farm produce, when you cannot recruit workers.
Nowhere in this budget is $1.2 billion allocated for the purchase of a presidential jet. How much does Air Force One cost?
Which item in the budget? I did not humility and modesty. I'm a lawyer. I've checked my facts out.
Mention the line item in the budget.
I know what I'm talking about. It's $1.2 billion.
Yes, Honorable.
The majority leader then questioned how the ranking member arrived at that figure, questioning what primary school he attended, and that triggered another showdown.
I cannot imagine which primary school you went, where you were taught that $260 million. How can you convert 2 billion Ghana cedis and get $1 billion? What kind of mathematics did you learn in school?
Speaker, I attended my basic school in Fufunso Preparatory Primary School in the Savannah region. Mr. Speaker, I know that the majority leader, having attended school in Boko, proceeded to school in Harvard. Mr. Speaker, and I know that you will not allow any member of this House, regardless of his status in this House, to disrespect, to denigrate, to demean myself. May I humbly, very humbly and kindly plead with my senior brother, the majority leader, do the needful by withdrawing and apologizing to my modest, humble self and the thousands of Ghanaians for this insult before I proceed.
Because I know that you had a good maths teacher in that school. That's why I'm surprised that when you convert 2 billion Ghana cedis, you get $1.2 billion. If he feels offended, I, who went to Boku in a primary school, was taught to apologize and withdraw. So I apologize and I withdraw.
Unsatisfied with what unfolded in the chamber, the Damongo MP then addressed the press.
If you put all of these together, these 4-year programmed expenditure, if you put all of these together, which is the multi-year procurement commitment the government of President Mahama has made to purchase these 4 helicopters and 2 presidential jets, it amounts in total to 13,152,072,333 Ghana cedis. If you do the conversion conservatively at the rate of 10.53, which is Bank of Ghana rate, you will get 1,249,009,718 United States dollars. So, ladies and gentlemen of the press, governance is about transparency. Is it a good way of spending our taxes? Is it a prudent step to take?
And away from Parliament, Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Gavin-Sadbuja says ongoing projects under government's Big Push agenda will be completed by the close of 2027. Speaking on TV3's New Day, he said the project will not only boost transportation, but also create jobs and empower local contractors. There's more in this report.
Roads are the main means of transport across Ghana. And with most of them not in the best shape, commuting has become difficult. The NDC government under John Mahama, as part of efforts to improve the country's road infrastructure, is embarking on the Big Push initiative. This aims to bridge the country's critical infrastructure deficit and stimulate long-term growth. Speaking on TV3's New Day, Roads and Highways Minister Kwame Gavin-Sadbuja spoke about the investment being made into the project.
Previously, the Finance Minister announced a 10 billion Big Push initiative as part of the President Mahama's vision. Currently, we are more than 60 billion in terms of projects that have already gone through procurement and other things. It's in excess of 60 billion, and it's in every region. And we have currently been able to work with our contractors, and majority of contractors participating in this are already on site.
The minister added that with local contractors at the center of the project, it will create jobs and expand the economy.
Once the Ghanaian is at the center of this, the value, the dividend and everything remains here. It spurs growth in almost every sector. You heard the finance minister when he was presenting the budget. We did a matrix. The big push alone should generate close to 500,000 jobs within the period of which we are doing this construction.
Kwame Gavin Zagboja assured that projects under the initiative are set for completion by the end of 2027, adding that funds have been allocated to ensure timely payment.
We are determined to complete these projects by the close of 2027. And we're determined to do this, and we know with the support of the Ghanaian contractor and everybody, we are going to do this simply because we know for sure that one of the reasons projects go beyond their contractual period is the issue of unreliable payment and other things. And as the finance minister said in the 2025 budget, he set aside over 13 billion Ghana cedi for to start that project. In the 2026 budget, he's setting aside additional 30 billion. So we already have over 40 billion earmarked between this year and next year.
Aside the Big Push initiative, 166 constituencies across the country will each receive 40 kilometers of roads over the next 4 years.
In Monday tonight, the Ghana Armed Forces has increased its presence in the Boko general area to address violent situations, especially as the Otumfuo-led mediation of the chieftaincy conflict nears conclusion. Additional detachments have also been deployed in and around the Binduri area to support existing ground forces. Our Upper East Regional Correspondent, Castro Senyala, has more in this report.
In the past few months, the insecurity situation in Binduri has been troubling following the spillover of the Boko chieftaincy conflict. The spillover has led to violent attacks resulting in the loss of lives and property. In response to the new wave of attacks, the government and state security agencies have been working to restore peace in the area through engagements with the factions, collaborations with traditional authorities, and the enforcement of curfews. During a visit to the area, the Ghana Armed Forces Northern General Officer Commanding Brigadier General Walanyo Agbebo said the military's actions are aimed at safeguarding lives and restoring stability.
We have realized that for the past 3 months or so, Boko has been very good, very calm, and all the attention has shifted to Binduri. So we want to see what we have done in Boko. We do the same thing in Binduri, or even better, to ensure that Binduri too is safe. We are doing all this in anticipation of Otumfuo's declaration so far as the Boko crisis is concerned. Now we need to move the truth forward instead of waiting for something to happen before we move forward.
At the Binduri Senior High School, where one of the military detachments has been positioned, the conflict has forced students to flee to safety and has negatively affected admissions. Some staff members have also abandoned their posts, which has taken a toll on the school's operations.
The population of just been currently the first years that we have now is about 20 something, it's not even up to 30 something. And then those who come for the admission, they are about 50, they are not even up to 60 and then beyond.
Some of the elders to help up so that the students will come back because due to the conflict, they ran away.
The Binduri District Chief Executive, Arigu Martin Akurugu, has appealed to residents to support efforts towards lasting peace.
We are also appealing to the youth. There is no any person that benefits from war. We need peace.
Until lasting peace and stability is restored to the Boko general area, the Ghana Armed Forces says it will continue with the sustained peace enforcement efforts. Castro Sinyala, TV3 News, Binduri, Upper East Region.
In more news tonight, Cabinet has approved enhanced conditions of service for all diplomats working abroad. President John Mahama announced this at the swearing-in of 11 envoys as ambassadors and high commissioners commissioners. The president says the new conditions will include a waiver to import a vehicle up to 2.7-litre capacity for returning foreign service staff.
These key performance indicators are not meant to burden you, they are intended to empower you. They will help the government identify support needs, reward excellence, and ensure that every mission contributes meaningfully to Ghana's national development priorities. We recognize that diplomats must be well supported to deliver on their mandates. For this reason, Cabinet has approved enhanced conditions of service for all our diplomats working abroad. Additionally, the Cabinet has approved a waiver of import duties and taxes on one vehicle for foreign service officers returning from overseas service. I was expecting you to clap. Yeah? But there's a caveat, with an engine capacity not exceeding 2.7 litres. So if you are thinking of a V8, I'm sorry. In line with our prudent budget management and the broader reset agenda, Cabinet has further approved rent ceilings for officers serving in missions abroad. This is intended to prevent waste and ensure value for money in all our foreign operations. I expect strict adherence to all protocols governing this policy. Financial discipline is integral to national renewal, and our missions must lead by example.
Let's go to one of our headline stories we are monitoring for you, which many of you have already expressed varied reactions to. He wanted to kill me. These are the words of 32-year-old domestic violence victim whose assault video has gone viral on social media. She says her estranged husband in a previous encounter allegedly put grounded pepper in her private parts. Despite police reports and desperate pleas, Harriet Amuzu says state agencies failed to intervene, leaving her abandoned. Now she is deciding to reveal her identity and tell her story to empower other victims to take a stand and speak out against domestic violence. Portia Gabor reports.
It was a viral video that got Ghana talking. A video of a man physically assaulting his wife to the pulp while naked. A 32-year-old woman, a wife, sister, auntie, and mother of two was the victim. At her hideout, she showed me scars and bruises of domestic violence etched deeply on her skin. Visibly shaken, Harriet, a 32-year-old mother of two, is distraught and not okay. She and her husband have been estranged for 5 months. She tells me she had to leave her marital home because she was fed up with the physical assault meted on her. Unfortunately, she could not go with her 2 kids after her husband refused to let her go along with them.
Monday no to me poor me no. Me were yes Saturday when me crown of friend is like Ketwana yare. So I want to share them see me 3 o'clock. Me be do of anko barrier ha. 8 to 9. Do fi ankwale na wo mu di agora me. Ah eja. Se ankwale mu yare na wo se akwala na yare na wo twa me ntro. Sana jono sebi. The bear my solo so on the meda. Na me say obi a me no mi oni ntem atete. E ko 5 months dey. Mempri. Se anu ntina da me ma me ba ya dia. O china no pa me ko adechi na me so akwala ni mu a se jan kwala no. Na me say ah, bleje dey na wo ye. Ade oni me wa asem wa se hwe. Trap na me start o. Na me say trap system. Bi se maji me. So we kura na se na we jan kwala no. E na me frɛ wa na enesi. Enesi no me si Jimmy e say na se me ni woni ho. Obu mi am dwan be share kura se wa pa me cho me se me mba. Enti Travis say ah me ba be ku. Sa tam no wa frɛ ne ba. E Daniel. So on fa nkwala ne nko na me fa nkwala ne nko. Onim se me de nkwala ne kwa. E fa dwane akọ. Ti Daniel na di nkwala ni paper no lock e wo Chinese do. Say lock no lock e. Sa tade na se me no se on e to ma me. Tararara. Nika Shami, or send a Tomami. I hear near Shami no toy, no attitude in enough me in our naked or all war. I want to go fast take. Won't pray and with the thousands and say born my and that year. No go fire with the bomb in them said him. I bless to drop now something is so bad. Come see me cool and go baby. I will wish you for wine. Move me. And I miss Mr. So when you 2 minutes at once. So you book to drink. You book to know them. Or stop many them the mensa. To bury our own many. Or the bubble bombing. We no quine. Until quarry and also at the full frabber. Or catching her. No go fast second. Oh, so means I say. So be charming, son, if you so be me them. See me so. Me brony, me mena. Me peko na kuma betoni yem no jam keke na mako mi ye. E bien le suya papa we don't just that. It open na. Laba ku ye veno keteku. Eno bobo no ma no siblede mpacho bie mi. No be gate na plan be just kind. No catch a brand so won't or start to us no go fan ne ba friend Abigail. Go fan stripper. The bobo bomb. Minka ze mun chantro. No TV anim. Me minka sake get. Me ne oba min kuba ma me na awani masida. No the bobo me fi no wiki me joint. Spread ba jo be kumi me stop.
She tells me this is not the first time that her estranged husband has abused her. Despite several pleas and reports to the Ghana Police Service, Harriet says nothing was done about it, despite carrying evidence.
Dina ukodi unu mine oda so nti akwa bonti akodi hu dia mebeto aso ama that day say simewu agada de na na seka mi uja me manu obama obo ne kari di me ko me ke bibia mi ntwanto to me ba papa su de biara da nti wona mi yede de ni mampani fofi obi eni onu wa obaje me.
Despite several pleas and reports to the Ghana Police Service, Harriet says nothing was done about it, despite carrying evidence.
Oh my God, that's no. Some me. Of our go barrier police station, my cause some me.
4 times for a Tesano. Of Uncle anything to me kind. So at some place in our coin, say by police for 9 days, and cash.
She does not trust state agencies to come to her aid, so I staged an intervention and placed a call to the gender minister.
I mean, everyone who sees our sister will have tears in their eyes. I mean, you tear up. But we thank God for her life. We are getting her to safety and then the children as well. And so once they are safe, we'll look at the next step forward. But by all means, it's our collective responsibility to protect life. And so we'll ensure that she's okay.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Police Service has arrested the suspect, John Odate-Lamte, following his arrest. 2 of his siblings who attempted to attack a female tenant they suspected recording the incident and circulating the video were also arrested, and the tenant was rescued to ensure her safety. Harriet hopes revealing her identity and telling her story will help another woman. If you're a victim of domestic violence, these are the toll-free numbers you should call.
0800 800 800 0800 900 900 and then 0800 111 222. When you call these numbers, it's free of charge and you will get help.
Portia Gabor, TV3 News.
Very, very sad story there. And clearly the numbers you heard at the latter part of that report are the numbers to DOFSU. And you can call if you have any challenge, especially having to do with domestic violence. Well, I mean, we've seen some of the comments coming in. We'll definitely be sharing some of them later on. But stay with us. When we return from this break, we'll bring you the latest in the world of business.
raised concerns over government's decision to fund the Big Push agenda with revenues from the extractive sector, citing significant uncertainties in resource-based income. The forum argues that global price volatility, along with Ghana's declining oil revenues, raises doubts about the long-term sustainability of the projects tied to the funding model. Under the 2026 budget, the government plans to finance the 30.8 billion Ghana cedis Big Push agenda largely through extractive sector revenues, including petroleum receipts and mining royalties earmarked for infrastructure. Officials say the strategy supports efforts to maintain a primary surplus while directing natural resource earnings into capital investment. But at the post-budget forum, civil society organizations warn that the approach may not be sustainable in the face of unpredictable commodity prices and fluctuating sector revenues.
To projects to pay for, and then you get only 500,000. What do you do with the commitments? So we have to diversify the funding sources for that to ensure that we are able to start and complete the projects that we have outlined that we are going to use those monies for.
The forum welcomed the scrapping of VAT on exploration activities, but called for clear metrics to assess the economic impact based on the operations of beneficiary companies.
Let's ensure that we're able to track that the businesses that enjoy these concessions, how are they performing on their side of the bargain, the contract, to ensure that we are getting the value for which we are making the concessions for them. And that is important. We've not been able to do that. Even if you look at the tax waivers that we give, we've not been able to track to see have the waivers resulted in low cost of production and whether that low cost of production has translated into low cost of the products and the services.
Now, away from that, the Advertising Association of Ghana is calling on government to take a fresh look at the Advertising Council bill. At the association's 34th annual general meeting, leaders said the move will help protect consumers, strengthen standards, and keep the advertising sector competitive in a fast-changing media landscape.
The Advertising Association of Ghana is an umbrella body that champions professional and ethical standards in the advertising industry. For more than 3 decades, the association has played a key role in shaping policy, promoting responsible advertising, and supporting the growth of agencies and practitioners across the country. The president of the association, Andrew Aka, in his report, highlighted the achievements of the association in 2025, mentioning the Gong Awards as one of the most remarkable. He said, in 2026, the association will continue to advocate for the passage of the Advertising Council Bill.
We want to start advocating for the current cabinet to review the bill, which I think is one of the most comprehensive. You know, the government can raise a lot of revenue out of it. That is not the main focus. You can bring sanity into advertising. This bill is going to be protecting local entrepreneurs, those who want to get into our industry, so that they can have ownership of the businesses that they run.
The president of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA, Abdullahi Awudu, emphasized the need for government to regulate the private sector to keep it competitive in a fast-changing media landscape.
Most independent media houses are commercial broadcasters, and one of the biggest things that keeps us alive is advertising revenue. We're also excited that they are pushing for an act, because that act then creates an enabling environment for advertising so that they can operate well, be able to streamline the industry so that it benefits us.
This year's meeting also featured the induction of new members and the inauguration of committee chairpersons.
And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market.
Side spray and coil.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. The race to the 2026 FIFA World Cup is entering its decisive stretch with 42 nations out of the 48 already booking their slots, with the playoffs looming, and the draw for the final set of matches in March would be taking place much later this week. But as anticipation builds, here's a report capturing what the details are with regards to the teams that have made their place in North America next year.
The first phase of the FIFA World Cup qualifiers has concluded with 42 nations securing their places. Among them is Brazil, the only team to qualify in all 22 previous editions of the tournament. UEFA will send 12 teams, including former champions France, Germany, Spain, and England. Africa's 9 qualifiers present a mix of historic achievers and returning powers. Morocco, Africa's first ever World Cup semi-finalist, headlined the group alongside Ghana, who in 2010 became the continent's second quarter-finalist after Cameroon. They are joined by first-timers, Cape Verde, and returning sides, Egypt, Algeria, South Africa, and Ivory Coast. The Asian Football Federation will feature 8 participants, highlighted by debutants Jordan and Uzbekistan. In CONCACAF, host Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America received automatic berth, while Curaçao make history as the smallest nation ever to reach the World Cup.
Obispo gets the header out. Curaçao have done it. A blue wave is heading to the World Cup.
Haiti added an inspiring chapter of its own, all parts that will produce the last 4 European qualifiers for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Traditional contenders such as Italy, Turkey, and Sweden are among those waiting to learn their route. The Intercontinental Playoff is expected to produce 2 teams who will complete the final 48 teams for the tournament. The final qualifying matches will take place in March, when 6 additional nations will join the 42 already qualified. The final draw for the FIFA World Cup 2026 is scheduled for 5th December in Washington, D.C. at the Kennedy.
And so just before we news just coming in from Rabat, Morocco, is that Achraf Hakimi has been crowned as the 2025 CAF Men's Player of the Year, finishing ahead of Victor Osimhen and Mohamed Salah. You can get more details and reactions on that on our social media handles at 3SportsGH. Well, that's all for the sports segment here on News 360. Up next is entertainment with Nuala Donko.
Well, good evening and welcome to the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko. Now, Zonda Tech Ghana Limited, a leading vehicle assembling and servicing company, has unveiled its new Tank 700 luxury SUV and officially reopened its Jolu showroom. Now, speaking at the event, the CEO, Madam Yang, emphasized the company's unwavering dedication to contributing to Ghana's national development agenda. This marks a major milestone in the nation's rapidly evolving automotive landscape. The event hosted in Accra also featured the grand unveiling of two highly anticipated models, the Tank 700 luxury off-road SUV and the Swallow 2000cc 8-cylinder motorcycle. Speaking at the ceremony, CEO Madam Yang emphasized the company's unwavering commitment to supporting Ghana's national development agenda, offering premium automotive solutions for Ghanaians.
That's the EV car for you, and also we put fuel inside the car. If the electricity run out, we can use the petrol. For 1 month, you only need to spend 700 cedis. So that is the philosophy for Zonda. We want to provide affordable cars, luxurious cars for Ghanaians. All is from Ghana, from Ghanaians, for Ghanaians.
Reigning GMB Queen Etonam, who received one of Zonda's modern vehicles as part of her prize package for winning Ghana's Most Beautiful 2025, continues to proudly drive a Zonda vehicle.
What I love most about the car is the fact that, our potholes and all of that, when you fall into a pothole or drive through a pothole, you don't even feel it that much. It's so smooth and it's incredibly beautiful. The interior is superb. And you can even talk to the car and it will perform some functions for you. So it's good.
Well, that's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
Well, and that's it for our package. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Asiedu Dartey.
And I am Portia Gabor. Do join Kemini Amano at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.